Hi everyone! In this video, we will go over the Smarty FLUTTER box, unbox the product itself, and demonstrate best practices to use your Smarty FLUTTER. So let's take a look at the front of the box. As you can see, the front tells us several things about Smarty FLUTTER. First, we see that Smarty FLUTTER has been created for ages 3 to 5, although we have tested it with younger and older ages, both of which were engaged and entertained. We also see that Smarty FLUTTER lets us learn to play with directions like right, left, up, and down, opposites like fast and slow, colors, shapes, and even emotional intelligence. We are also shown that Smarty FLUTTER has over 150 random responses, which keeps kids interested and learning. Smarty FLUTTER comes with 2 languages, in this case, English and Spanish. So, what is Smarty FLUTTER and what does it do? Well, Smarty FLUTTER is a supercharged learning toy that teaches preschoolers on the go as they fly through a room or a yard. Smart technology identifies colors, and Kidspeak conversation calls out feelings, helping kids recognize their own emotions. Fun missions teach directions, shapes, opposites, and colors. Motion sensors encourage active physical play. And random actions and reactions make the experience different every time a child plays. Smarty FLUTTER provides feedback through audio and lights. Also note that after 5 minutes of inactivity, Smarty FLUTTER will go to sleep to conserve battery. To wake Smarty FLUTTER up, simply press any button. Now that we have gone over the box and briefly described the toy, let's unbox our Smarty FLUTTER. Inside the box, you have Smarty FLUTTER as well as a user manual. To release Smarty FLUTTER from the box, you will need to cut the zip ties. Make sure to keep the user manual, which is packed inside the box. Now let's go over all the buttons and switches. On the underside of Smarty FLUTTER, we see the following: the color identification sensor, the language selection switch, the battery compartment. If you need instructions on how to change batteries, please refer to the user manual which came with your device. Now let's flip Smarty FLUTTER right side up to reveal the following: an on-off button on the top of the body, 4 learning buttons, 2 squares and 2 triangles, left and right indicator lights on the tips of each antenna. Before we turn on Smarty FLUTTER, let's go over some necessary usage information. Smarty FLUTTER has sensors that recognize directional orientation, up, down, left, and right, acceleration, slow and fast, altimeter, high and low, and color detection. Smarty FLUTTER is an interactive play toy which gives audio instructions that are to be followed. To properly play with the toy, you must follow its instructions. Let's break up the various interactions we will do with Smarty FLUTTER into 3 categories: maneuvers, shapes and numbers, color detection. Before we get into the various ways to interact with the toy, this is how Smarty FLUTTER should be held when played with. For the first category, maneuvers, we will review the correct ways to move your Smarty FLUTTER with regard to the various commands that are given. Let's start with takeoff and landing. They are to be done as follows. Now let's practice turning left and right, which should be done like this. Also, when you are instructed to turn, one of the 2 LED lights on the tip of the antennas will blink, indicating which way to turn. Next, let's review lower and higher. They are done as follows. Lastly, let's go over faster and slower, which looks something like this. Now that we got all the maneuvers down, let's go over to the next category: shapes, colors, and numbers. For this category, we will focus on Smarty FLUTTER's 4 learning buttons, 2 squares and 2 triangles. An example of a numbers and shapes command can be something like,
can you find 2 squares and 2 triangles? 1 triangle, 1 square, 2 squares.
last category we will review is color detection, which utilizes the color identification sensor. An example of color detection command could be something like fly to something green. To follow this command, find something green near you and land on it. Once you land on the correct color, all of Smarty FLUTTER's lights will light up in that color. Please note that color matching accuracy depends on the texture and finish of the scanned surface, especially printed surfaces. Now let's put it all together and play with Smarty FLUTTER. Turn Smarty FLUTTER on by pressing the on-off button once. At the beginning of each play round, which consists of 25 commands, Smarty FLUTTER tells you to place her on a flat surface and press either of the red lights to get started. Now you are ready to fly.
Hi there, I'm Flutter the butterfly. Let's fly above the clouds. Start flying on the ground to gain some speed.
Now you are ready to fly.
And we're going up. Couldn't have done that better myself. In the early morning, the sky was purple. Can you find something purple to land on? Press any button once you landed on the color. In the early morning, the sky cool. You found something purple. Back to the sky. Right turn coming up. Uh-oh, wrong way. Try again. Swerve to the right. High five. Can you find two squares? One square. Two squares. You make it seem easy. Let's fly again. Swerve to the left. You're better than a GPS. Going slow is the way to go. Nice. Let's get fancy here. Turn right. High five. Can you find two squares and two triangles? One triangle, one square. Two squares, two triangles.